afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. The summer camp season has come and gone, but one summer camp program that's rooted in sustainable agriculture and the arts is already working for next year. In fact, it's working to become a year-round program. The Unbound Grace Sentinel Farms program in Starksboro prides itself on offering health-centered activities that encourage kids to find their talents and share their passions. I had a chance to visit the farm during the summer with Channel 3 News photographer Lance McKenzie. Here's what we learned. It looks like a typical summer camp morning, brushing the horses for a riding lesson.
I love it here. I mean, the people here are amazing and the horses here are amazing and you just have so much fun.
But this camp is on a mission to keep kids on the right track in their young lives, to prepare them for the turbulent high school years.
They get dropped off here often 6:30 in the morning, sometimes aren't picked up to 7:30 at night, as long as we've got light. As we lose light, they want to come, but it's cold and dark. Very gently onto her back.
Carrie Kurt runs the camp. She's a registered nurse and has her master's in divinity. She grew up in Vermont and in the 1990s even served in the legislature.
Yes, I was a state rep for Colchester for a number of years, and I totally enjoyed serving the community in that capacity. I loved being able to get in there and try and create answers. Ways to make a difference. All right.
She moved for a time to Colorado, working in the prison system, and it was there that she created the nonprofit Unbound Grace.
So now let's see, everybody.
The idea was to bring people with talent from the community into the prison to share with the inmates, like artists and musicians. And when she moved back to Vermont in 2005, she bought this farm in Starksboro and continued Unbound Grace for local kids.
They're sitting around just playing video games and eating potato chips and hanging around with other kids who are not necessarily well directed. We all know all kinds of things can happen and move them in the wrong direction. So we try and get them focused. It's their passion that brings them here, and they work, they move forward.
While the emphasis this morning has been on horseback riding, the whole point of this camp is to teach these kids some really important life lessons. And it's working.
I've learned how to communicate with other people better.
Autumn Burbo from Richmond has been coming here for 4 years. She is now 14.
Well, when I first came here, my father passed away. So I got over it by communicating with horses and other people. And that's pretty much how I became the person I am today.
The emphasis is on educating the campers about all kinds of physical activity and nature and the importance of taking care of your body.
We ride in the mornings for like an hour, and then we get to go and do poetry or go swimming or go on nature walks, and she teaches a wide variety of stuff.
Nice!
Carrie is now working on taking the next step and offering her riding and camp program throughout the winter as well. But she needs an indoor riding facility to do that, and she's working on it. The plan is to convert this old structure into a new indoor center.
We need indoor space. And if we all come together as a community and create a space so that these kids can be active during the winter months, some of them are going into high school. If they don't have their community to hold them into space and keep them directed in training, we know that most kids, if they go off track, it's during high school. Remember, you don't move.
Sentinel Farms' Unbound Grace is now planning a silent auction, family fun day, and potluck dinner and barn dance in September to raise funds for the new building. And all the campers are involved in making sure the event will be a success. Well, in the time since I reported that story, the barn dance has taken place and plans for a year-round facility are moving forward. For an update, I'm joined now by Carrie Kurt, who is the founder of Unbound Grace Sentinel Farms. Great to see you again.
Thank you so much for having me, Judy.
Yeah, tell me about the barn dance and how it went.
It was a blast. Lots of people, tons of children, families together having a wonderful memory-making day, and being silly, bringing out the youth in all of us. There was egg tosses, three-legged races.
Lots of food.
Yes, lots of food, lots of dancing, and a wonderful silent auction with contributions from all over the community.
And so what do kids learn when they're involved in your program?
Children have the opportunity to direct themselves, to have somebody help direct themselves in a way that appears to work for them. They learn stick-to-itiveness, perseverance, persistence, honesty. and how to follow through, connect to their dreams, and create goals.
And so you're a registered nurse, a former policymaker, someone who's worked with prison inmates. You've seen some people make bad choices. I mean, we all, throughout life, make choices that aren't great,
Right.
But some are worse than others.
Yes, absolutely. And today, you know, I've actually been appraised of it more. The number of drugs that are available to youth in the community, those are decisions that we must make sure we must inoculate our children from doing that the first time. There are drugs that just get people addicted right away, and then the children go down this road. So the best prevention is to make sure that they're well informed that some of these drugs you never want to try.
And so that's all part of, you know, what you do when the kids come to your camp in the summertime, rather than staying at home, you know, maybe unsupervised because parents have to work. This gives them a place to do something.
Right, and they learn about nutrition. They learn about their diet, about choices that they're making. They are basically downloaded with information so that they have an understanding of the choices that they're making. Exercise is important. They understand the physiological part of that. If they don't do this, they're headed towards possible diabetes and a lifelong you know, communication with the hospital, which they don't need to do, and which of course is very costly to the rest of the population.
And so what are some of the other things that the kids do? Because we saw the riding lesson, and I think what struck me about that was that there wasn't a time limit set on that. I mean, it wasn't, you know, from 10 to 11 is the riding lesson.
Right.
It took however long it took for those kids to learn how to tack up the animals and get on and get out.
Right. That is kind of how everything goes there. There are certain steps that you need to learn to move to the next step. You know, when they recognize the next step and they want to get there, well, the first step goes a little bit quicker. But you can't you can't skip steps in life, and that's sort of another thing that they learn. To be able to get to ride, you need to know how to manage the good husbandry of an animal and respect. They learn respect for the animal, and while doing that, they learn respect for themselves.
And so what is your goal now? We were talking about getting the indoor facility built. How is that going?
That is going to be a full court press for this year. We have some wonderfully gifted, skilled men and women who have said, I will show up. Plumbers, electricians, carpenters, excavators, designers, who are ready to get this building up to make sure that these youth can have the continuity of training throughout the year and continuity of this chosen community that they're choosing to take part of. I think that's going to make a big difference. Not only will it protect them and allow us to go through the winter, because if it gets dark and cold, they get off the bus, they have 15 minutes of dark and cold, it just does not work.
Right.
In the summer, of course, can protect them from the sun, the rain, and the mosquitoes.
And so tell me a little bit about, in the news story that I did, I showed an artist's rendition of what you want the building to look like. And that was actually a young architect you were telling me.
Yes, he's a wonderfully graced young man and a very talented. Of course, everybody's young to me these days as I'm aging. But no, he was wonderfully talented. Pier Giovanni. He was working with Truex Collins at that time. But not only is he graced in his talent, he and I met, and he heard about what we were doing to prevent kids and move them in a positive direction, and he just jumped right on board and said, I will help make those renditions. And that's what I'm finding. People are saying, we do need to make a difference. We can't just sit around and complain that we are having a young generation who are not getting the skills they need to take part in our community in a beneficial way. And then we have those that are making very poor health decisions that are going to head them really off into the wrong direction. Basically, if they get into drugs, the heroin and the opiates and the meth that is out there today, which is just so frightening, they are on the direction towards incarceration and worse, very young lives. Lost and their potential lost, and we can do something about that.
Talk about lost potential, but also the cost to society for that.
Well, I always look the cost of potential when somebody when we've missed the chance for one of these youth to connect to what their gift and passion is, which would have become something beautiful, I'm sure, to the community in some way. That's a loss that we can't even
calculate
what it would calculate. But absolutely, we recognize that one individual spending a time incarcerated for a year is, years ago it was $45,000 a year. If we just prevented 22 individuals from spending time incarcerated or wherever in foster care, which drugs have children go out of, and adults go out of control. If we can prevent that, that adds up. That's $1 million basically.
Yeah.
We prevent 22 individuals to not spend a year incarcerated, 1 year, we're saving $1 million. And that, recognize that $45,000 a year does not touch the capital investment that our community and tax dollars have created to build these institutions, which become basically cement circular files. Mm-hmm. We want to prevent them from going in that direction. This program can do that.
It's interesting, you talk about the kids wanting to be in the program. It is a choice they make. Absolutely, absolutely. You can't, it's the old adage. You can always go back to the old agricultural adages. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. What I do is say, here's the water. Here's the water. And I might say it a gazillion times a day in so many different ways. Mm-hmm. Here's the water. And it's their choice to finally take that drink. No learning situation works when somebody's trying to force children or adults or whatever to learn. But if you find a child is interested in learning, my goodness, as a community, we better just jump on that opportunity and say, sure, how can I help you learn that? Because they're already invested. They want to learn. The thing about also this 4-season indoor programming space, what that does is when you provide the continuity of their training and they can see that they're getting better every time, that's the next immunization to go the next step, to work that little bit harder, to think about your diet a little bit more, to do those 20 push-ups so that you are that much stronger and can control your own body. Tell me a little bit about the reaction that the kids have had to the barn dance, to trying to find items for the silent auction themselves, to being involved and seeing things move forward and saying, wow, I guess I can make a difference.
Yes, I think that's actually kind of the most important part. This building is essential, absolutely. But it's the process of creating the building for kids to learn the business skills. So they came out, they dressed a particular way. They know how to make wonderful eye contact. They know how to shake a hand properly. Mm-hmm. They know how to say please and thank you. All of those are social skills that each of our children need to learn to become, healthy and employed individuals as they grow up. So even those skills are important. And learning how to ask and understand that this is an important thing. You're not just asking for no reason. Right. This is something that they're investing in themselves and they're investing in future generations.
And so where does the project stand now, and what has to happen to take that next step?
That next step is we need funders. We need people who are willing to fund, whether it's a coffee a day, or one coffee, $5, or the funders who happen to be gifted with, that's their gift. They have that funding to make something big happen. Mm-hmm. That's what we need, because we do have the skilled workers who are saying, who work every day saying, I will come and help you build this. Now we need to raise the funds to actually build the roof, the walls, finish the design.
How can people who are watching the program contact you if they're interested in more information or to help?
Go to unboundgrace.org. 377-1066 is my phone number. Kerry@unboundgrace.org will get my email, or we're on Facebook.
Terrific. Well, I want to thank you, and I look forward to having you back when the building is up and running.
Let's do it. We can do it together.
Thanks, Carrie. That's our program for today. I'm Judy Simpson. I'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.
For a video copy of today's program, call toll-free 1-888-ATF-3430. Across the Fence is brought to you as a public service by University of Vermont Extension and WCAX TV.